Have you ever thought that something as little as a shot could determine a child's life? There's been a lot of talk recently on whether or not parents should have their kids vaccinated. Vaccines have been used for decades to protect the safety of children and many others around them from sickness and diseases. But since times are changing, are vaccines still relevant? Today I'm here to inform you of the positive and negative effects of vaccinating children. I'm eligible to speak to you about this topic, for I have done extensive research. Today I will be first informing all of you on the positive effects of vaccinating children and how vaccines can save lives, protect future generations, how some diseases have almost been eradicated or completely under control. I will then discuss some of the negative effects of vaccinating children, such as the government trying to intervene with personal choices and how there's still a small degree of uncertainty within vaccines. Some people believe that vaccinating their children is not only saving their child's life, but is saving a community's population's life as their own. Vaccines protect the population. For example, if one child is not vaccinated and gets the measles, she herself is not only at risk, but puts other kids at risk for getting the disease as well. Dr. Mark Daughtry in Vaccinations of the Special Population says, Special groups such as pregnant women, infants, and children under the age of 5 are at an increased risk of vaccine-preventable diseases. These special groups have lower immune systems. If they contract the virus or disease, it can be very hard to get rid of and can sometimes be fatal. Herd immunity, Dr. Mark Manish on March 10, 2017 states, most vaccine-preventable diseases are spread from person to person. If one person in the community gets the infectious disease, he or she can spread it to others who are not immune, who are not vaccinated. But a person who is immune, who is vaccinated to a disease, because she has been vaccinated, they cannot get and spread the disease to others. The more people who are vaccinated, the fewer opportunities the disease has to spread, and that means it stays under control. This explains best what herd immunity is, because a herd is a group of people who have their vaccines and cannot spread the diseases and viruses. The second point I will cover is that just because we have almost eradicated some diseases does not mean that we are in the clear for harmful diseases. Vaccines have eradicated some diseases, but not all, making them still necessary to get. How effective vaccines are on average, in the United States, children are recommended to be vaccinated against 16 diseases when they are born. Walter Ornstein and Rafi Ahmed on April 10, 2017 state that all diseases have been reduced by more than 90%, and other diseases have either been eliminated or reduced by 99%.
Yeah.
A recent analysis of vaccines to protect against 13 diseases eliminated a single birth coherent, nearly 20 million cases, and 40,000 deaths. There are statistics of how many diseases have disappeared and decreased since vaccines have become popular. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention website states that diseases like whooping cough, polio, the measles, influenza, and rubella struck hundreds of thousands of people before vaccines were created. And thousands have died from them every year. Since vaccines have been developed, they have become widely used, and rates of these diseases have declined today, as most of them are completely gone from our country. On the contrary, some people view that vaccines are optional. The third point I have is that parents have the best interest for their children, and the government should have no say on the personal medical decisions of that child. The government tries to intervene with personal choices by Barbara Speaks. Government should not interfere with personal choices. Barbara Fisher, founder of National Vaccine Information Center, says that the internet has changed everything, and in the near future, we may not be able to research vaccines, talk about them freely, and just chat and have a conversation with her about vaccines. She quoted, "I personally thought that I knew what was best for my son, and that was to not get him vaccinated. But I thought just because everyone was telling me to get my son vaccinated, I decided that he should get the DVT vaccine. And in 1980, he was injured severely. She is now a voice for the minorities in the same situation that she was in. And not only that, mandatory vaccines breach constitutionally protected religious freedoms." The last point I have is that even though there are good that comes from vaccines, we can never be too sure of the consequences. Vaccines can cause serious and sometimes fatal side effects. Mayo Clinic website includes information on vaccines. They have stated that any vaccine can cause side effects, usually resulting in minor low fever or high fever, fussiness, soreness from the injection, temporary headaches, fatigue, and loss of appetite. Vaccines are also unnatural. Some believe that natural immunity is more effective than vaccines themselves. A natural injection might provide better immunity than a vaccination, but there are still some serious risks. There have been people who are older that have never been vaccinated and they never get sick and they still live the regular lives that people who are vaccinated do. In conclusion, I have talked to you guys about the positive and negative effects of vaccinating children, such as how vaccines save lives and protect future generations, and how vaccines have almost eliminated and controlled some diseases. I also introduced the negative effects of vaccinations, such as the government trying to control whether or not that they should have personal medical control over the decisions, and how there are still some uncertainties about vaccinations. I hope you now understand the positive and negative effects of vaccinating children. Do you think vaccines can help save a life?